Before we show you the new exhaust, we want to be children. I want to see what it sounds like with no exhaust on at all, V12 screaming out the back, so I think you're going to start it.
Something shocking just happened in Mat Armstrong's garage, and it's unlike anything he's faced before. The man who has rebuilt Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and other supercars from total destruction now faces a project that has even him questioning if it's possible. This wrecked Ferrari, once destined for the scrapyard, was supposed to be another impossible comeback, but complications, unseen damage, and engineering challenges have pushed the rebuild to its limits. How did a car that seemed unstoppable hit such a wall? And what could possibly stop Mat Armstrong? Join us as we uncover the exact reasons why Mat is breaking the news. A dream build that turned into a nightmare. When Mat Armstrong first saw the wrecked Ferrari 296 GTB, most people didn't assume he would try to repair it. The car was crushed, panels crumpled, lights shattered, and the frame bent in ways that screamed total loss. Even Ferrari had declared it beyond repair. To others, it was scrap, but to Mat, it was a challenge he couldn't resist. He saw the chance to take a nearly impossible rebuild and turn it into something extraordinary, as he had done with dozens of other supercars. However, almost immediately, Mat faced his first roadblock, Ferrari itself. This company is known to maintain strict control over its vehicles, even after they've been sold. In Mat's case, they restricted access to critical parts, diagnostic software, and technical documentation, and without these, nothing can be done. Even the most skilled mechanics would struggle to revive a hybrid V6 with advanced electronic systems. This wasn't just a technical obstacle, but a warning that the project could be stopped before it even started. For those unfamiliar, Mat Armstrong is a British YouTuber with over 6.5 million subscribers. His superpower is buying crashed, written-off supercars and bringing them back to life. He has restored different cars, which he always updates on his YouTube channel, from Porsche 911 GT 3RS to a Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, a Ferrari 812 Superfast, and even a heavily damaged Lamborghini Revuelto, often improving their performance and functionality in the process. His new rebuild, the 296 GTB, isn't just rare, it's complex. Its hybrid engine and intricate electronics mean every sensor and control module interacts with precision. Rebuilding it required more than welding panels or replacing bodywork. Mat had to source for different electronics, align body panels to exact factory tolerances, and integrate every system so the car could function safely. The repair process spiraled and soon turned the wrecked car, gotten for $131,000, into a nightmare. As he tried to repair it, more challenges came up. There were missing engine components, proprietary software locks, and the constant risk of voiding insurance coverage. Despite this, Mat pressed on. He spent over thousands of pounds sourcing parts and rebuilding the car. He reconstructed the body, restored the interior, and carefully calibrated every mechanical and electronic system. The Ferrari began to resemble the masterpiece he envisioned, approaching the point where it could finally start. Then Ferrari intervened. Just as Mat prepared to fire up the engine, the manufacturer blocked him. They forbade him from continuing the rebuild independently, citing their control over parts and software. This wasn't a minor setback. It was a complete halt, as nothing could be done anymore. While Mat had faced restrictions from other brands, including Bugatti, this move from Ferrari shocked the car community. As Mat dug in, it became clear that this was a puzzle no one had solved, and he had to solve it. And that's when the real question arose. If even the experts couldn't fix it, what chance did anyone have? why even the experts couldn't fix it. When the crash-damaged Ferrari 296 GTB reached the attention of official Ferrari service centers, their reaction showed that it didn't require an ordinary repair. Ferrari is known for precision engineering and world-class factory support, yet even their own technicians were unable to offer a straightforward solution. The reason goes beyond cost or complexity. This car had crossed into territory that Ferrari itself rarely encounters. The car, before it got wrecked, was driven by its previous owner on a rain-slicked road in Cyprus. It was said that he had disabled driver aids and pushed the car hard, letting 830 horsepower loose on slick asphalt. The rear tires lost grip, the car spun violently, and the front left corner slammed into a guardrail before sliding into a shallow embankment. However, the Ferrari 296 GTB on its own is among the most advanced road cars ever built. Its 3.0-liter twin-turbo V6, paired with an electric motor, produces about 830 horsepower, meaning the engine, battery, and electronics are deeply intertwined. The hybrid system starts the car and also manages its energy flow, torque distribution, cooling, and safety protocols. Every time a sensor or control unit reports data, the car's central network compares it against expected values. The software has to recognize and authorize each component before the system will initialize. This level of integration becomes a barrier when a car has been severely damaged. In this case, the wreck had so badly deformed structural mounting points, wiring, and control modules that the car's own computers could not communicate reliably with many systems. When the car was first taken to a Ferrari dealer in Cyprus, the initial assessment was about whether Ferrari's own network could safely bring the vehicle back to a functioning state. According to the technician, the damage was outside the range of conditions that Ferrari's authorized repair protocols cover. He then advised Mat to consider the car irreparable and move on to something else. The insurance company's total loss decision reflected this reality. Even with access to original parts, official diagnostic tools, and Ferrari's internal repair manuals, the dealership saw no clear route to rebuild. Certain high-voltage components had to be replaced, and without baseline system recognition, the control modules would not allow the hybrid system to initialize, meaning the engine could not start and the car could not be driven under its own power. This lack of a recovery path is what set Mat Armstrong's project apart. Most wrecked cars can be aligned and restarted, but the 296 GTB's systems were so deeply disrupted, and their network dependencies so tightly woven, that without Ferrari's cooperation and software authorization, even the manufacturer's best technicians couldn't simply fix it. However, even with Ferrari itself stumped, Mat refused to walk away. What seemed impossible for the experts became his personal challenge. Pushing forward against every setback. From the moment Mat Armstrong bought the wrecked Ferrari 296 GTB, nothing went as planned. The crash had been so violent that the car refused to start. Every time Mat tried to power it up, the dashboard would light up with hybrid system failure. Go to the dealer. Months of work later, and the engine still sat silent in the garage. A Ferrari that looked rebuilt, but remained lifeless. Most people would have stopped there. The crash damage was deep, and Ferrari itself had kept its distance for months. Even after Mat rebuilt the body and many mechanical parts, the 296 GTB simply wouldn't come alive. But Mat didn't quit. He pushed forward, throwing everything he had at the problem. The hardest challenge was the hybrid system. The 296 GTB uses a twin-turbo V6 engine linked with an electric motor and a high-voltage battery. Those systems talk to each other through software that only Ferrari's official tools can access. After the crash, many wiring harnesses and control modules were either crushed, or shorted by water and debris. Without Ferrari's diagnostic software, Mat couldn't clear the error codes and reset the system. To eliminate one unknown, Mat and his team spent nearly £19,000 on a brand new high-voltage battery and related electronics. They removed the old battery, installed the new one, checked every connection, and hoped the car would finally fire up. But it didn't. The dash stayed dark, and the engine stayed silent. Still, Mat didn't slow down. He rebuilt nearly every part of the car himself, bit by bit. His team also joined hands with him sometimes, and he even sourced rare challenge spec body panels. It was a huge step beyond what most repair projects ever attempt. Early in the build, Ferrari had shipped these components to him without issue. Later, they blocked further orders, forcing Mat to find alternative sources or wait for permission. As the build stretched on, Mat documented every moment, the wins and the setbacks, to millions of viewers on his YouTube channel. Fans watched as what began as a hopeful restoration became a prolonged engineering battle. He would make phone calls, send several emails to executives, and negotiate for access to tools and parts that most independent builders would never get near. Eventually, Mat changed his goal. Instead of just returning the Ferrari to working condition, he decided to make it one of the most extraordinary 296 ever built. He turned it to a road-legal car with a full Ferrari 296 challenge look. He fitted aggressive bumpers, lightweight panels, and a bespoke rear wing, transforming the wreck into a car visually indistinguishable from race cars seen in Ferrari's official motorsport series. Yet even after months of rebuilding and redesigning, the 296 GTB still would not start, and Ferrari's support remained conditional. Parts that had once been promised stopped arriving, and communication became sporadic. Just when the project was nearing its most impressive form, visually and mechanically, the build stalled again. This was not from lack of effort, but because of limits imposed by the very company that designed the car. After months of relentless work and dead ends, Mat's persistence finally drew Ferrari's attention. Did Ferrari eventually agree to the rebuild? When Ferrari finally stepped in. For months, Mat Armstrong continued to push forward with his ambition of supercar rebuilds ever attempted. Despite his months of work, Ferrari had repeatedly declined to help. Ferrari's initial stance was straightforward. The company would not engage with a car that had been rebuilt or modified outside its authorized network. The 296 GTB in Mat's workshop had been taken apart and reassembled by an independent team, with parts not installed in the exact sequence Ferrari expects during official repair. That placed the car outside Ferrari's standard support channels. However, after months of silence and waiting, everything changed. Mat sent a direct email to Ferrari's headquarters explaining the entire rebuild, how he had restored the wrecked car, the genuine Ferrari parts he had used, and how the complex hybrid system still refused to initialize. This message went straight to the manufacturer in Italy. Ferrari finally replied. For the first time since the rebuild began, the company acknowledged his message and indicated it might consider assisting with the next stage, getting the 296 GTB to start. This marked a turning point, even though the response came with strict conditions. Ferrari made it clear that before any diagnostic support or help could be offered, the vehicle had to be fully assembled and ready for inspection at a certified facility. That sounds simple, but it was not. Mat had already invested heavily in the project, including spending roughly £20,000 on a new hybrid battery when the old one failed to resolve the starting issue. But Ferrari's condition required the car to be complete and properly fitted, with every panel, sensor, and electrical harness in its place before its official diagnostic systems could communicate with the vehicle. This requirement made sense from Ferrari's perspective. The company's diagnostic tools rely on carefully controlled system communication to ensure safety and correctness. A half-assembled or modified vehicle could fail to communicate with Ferrari's software tools, making fault codes impossible to read and risking incorrect calibration. That's why Ferrari's network only works with vehicles presented in a form that matches its internal repair standards. For the car community watching Mat's series, Ferrari's involvement was a major development. Mat documented the exchange, sharing the factory's conditions with his millions of viewers. Many saw it as validation. The rebuild was taken seriously by the manufacturer, even if the path forward remained difficult. But there was a catch. Ferrari didn't promise a quick or easy fix. The reply didn't guarantee that the engine would start once inspected, or that the company would assume responsibility for the hybrid problem. All it did was open a door that had been closed for months. To pass through it, Mat must complete the rebuild to Ferrari's exacting standards, present it correctly, and pass a full inspection before any official diagnostic procedures or startup attempts can begin. So while Ferrari's response represented progress, the hardest work is still ahead. A fully compliant rebuild and a successful inspection are now the only remaining steps between a silent 296 GTB and the moment the engine finally roars to life. So while Ferrari's involvement opened a door, there's a much bigger problem that was overlooked. Modern supercars can't be fixed without the manufacturer's control. The bigger issue no one is talking about. Most people following Mat Armstrong's Ferrari 296 GTB rebuild see the crash, the repairs, and the fact that the car still won't start. But the deeper story this project has uncovered isn't just about damage or parts, but about control. In today's supercars, manufacturers hold almost total authority over how a car can be repaired, accessed, and returned to life. Mat didn't pick an ordinary wreck. He chose a Ferrari 296 GTB, a hybrid supercar. Its systems are highly networked, with safety protocols, battery management, and driving dynamics all managed through proprietary software. This means that even if every physical part is replaced, the car still won't work unless the software systems recognize and validate those parts. Ferrari's response showed this plainly. At first, the company refused any involvement because the car was neither repaired through authorized channels nor presented in a standard factory condition. Later, Ferrari said it might help only after the vehicle was fully assembled and inspected by an approved facility. What makes this situation larger than just one car is how it reflects the shift in supercar design and ownership. Cars like the 296 GTB are not simply mechanical machines. They are networked electronics and software platforms where physical repairs are only half the job. The manufacturer's control system is the main deal. This leads to a broader question gaining traction in the automotive world. Do manufacturers have the right to permanently limit the function of a car that an owner legally possesses? In the case of the 296 GTB, Ferrari's control over software, parts distribution, and authorized repair has effectively put the car in a suspended state. A Ferrari in name, but a motionless machine in reality. As independent rebuilders and regulators watch this unfold, the debate about right to repair in the era of hybrid and electric supercars is only beginning, and the 296 GTB may be a watershed moment. However, now that the issues have been noted and addressed, everything now comes down to one moment. Mat must make the impossible work, or watch it remain silent forever. Mat Armstrong's final hurdle. Finally, after months of work and tens of thousands of pounds spent on parts, including a brand new high-voltage hybrid battery, Mat Armstrong reached the most critical point in his Ferrari 296 GTB rebuild, making the car finally start. He had rebuilt the body, repaired the suspension, rewired damaged harnesses, and even fitted rare Ferrari 296 Challenge spec components that most independent workshops never see. But when Mat turned the key, the engine stayed silent. On a modern hybrid supercar like the 296 GTB, starting the engine isn't just about turning a key. The electric motor, battery management system, and engine control units must all communicate perfectly in a precise sequence. That leaves one clear obstacle: Ferrari's involvement. Reassembling the whole car to Ferrari's standards was no small feat, and one question everyone was asking was if Ferrari will fulfill their promise. Mat's team already rerouted wires to fit custom Challenge-derived body panels. They also relocated cooling pipes to improve airflow and adjusted suspension mounts far from their original factory position. Undoing or adapting these changes without breaking the car's complex electronics meant weeks of additional labor and painstaking checks. Matters were made harder by the fact that some of the parts used on the rebuild weren't originally intended for road cars, even if they were genuine Ferrari pieces. Even after all this effort, there was no guarantee Ferrari would flick the switch and allow the hybrid system to initialize. The company could rule that certain aspects of the rebuild didn't meet its standards and require further repairs or official part replacements before using its software authorization tools. In that case, the project could be sent back to the drawing board, forcing Mat to revise major sections again before any chance of progress. This is the final hurdle in Mat's saga, a direct clash between independent rebuilding and strict manufacturer control. Presenting the 296 GTB in a form Ferrari recognizes and accepts is now the only path forward. If Ferrari approves the car and runs its official diagnostics, the engine could finally roar to life. If not, months of effort risk stalling at the last step, forcing another round of complex work that overshadows everything that came before. At this point, everything Mat has built hinges on Ferrari's inspection and depends on meeting Ferrari's exact standards. It's the decisive moment that will determine whether one of the most ambitious supercar restorations ever attempted will truly become a running car, or remain a mechanical masterpiece that never moves under its own power. Do you think Mat Armstrong will finally get the Ferrari 296 GTB to roar to life? Or will the hybrid system remain locked forever under Ferrari's control? Are there other options Mat has not explored to get the Ferrari running? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.